All right, everyone, welcome back once again to this Beefcast presentation. I'm your casting host, Beef. Joining me today is Shay for this ZVZ action. How's it going, Shay?
It's going very well indeed.
Very well indeed. How excited are you for the ZVZ?
I'm so excited for the CVZ. I'm literally on the edge of my seat.
I actually am on the edge of my seat because my chair is broken. Let's get into it. Bottom left-hand corner of TSL4 Daybreak is going to be the Green Zerg. It is Cactus Storm, aka Moriga.
Facing off against him, top right, pink, Kupak, who is going by Samurai, or just Sam.
Sam. Yeah, so both of these players are going to be going by their aliases here, Moriga and Sam. So we will do our best to call them as such. It might be a little bit hard just because we're not so familiar with them. But here on Daybreak, this is going to be a map that is very much so going to be played out by the build orders of our Zerg players. We'll see how this does end up playing out. Which one is going to be going for something like a hatch first? Who's going to be going for 14-14? Who's going to be going for early pool? Nobody, because they're both already at 14 drones. So we'll see what these players do go ahead and do. As the first gas is taken on 14 down here by Moriga.
Overlord high five in the center of the map.
Yeah! I love Overlord high fives. And it looks like Kupak is going to be going for the 15 hatch over here. So we will see most certainly how the players do go ahead and play this out with that 14-14 coming down here from Moriga. There's actually a strong possibility of him putting on a lot of early pressure. The 14-14 is a build that really does defend and is able to put on pressure very effectively. So we'll see how confident Cactus Storm is going to be in his matchup here.
Sam is also not throwing down his own gas.
Yeah, gas there on 16, followed by 15 pool. So this is actually going to be a response from Sam over here. One, make sure that he does not fall too far behind on speed timing. Speed is actually going to be one of the primary things in this matchup that really just allows you that big timing. So speed is going to be pretty fast here from Moriga. Going to be about 45 to 50 seconds faster than his opponents. So that is the timing where you're able to get in there and do a lot of damage. That's the advantage that you get here over your opponent. And you need to be able to make up that economic difference. Having the hatchery about an entire minute and a half faster, you need to be able to equalize that difference with that early aggression. And it looks like 4 Zerglings are going to be making their way across the map as our green Zerg does in fact take his own natural over here. A large drone transfer going to be making its way down into the natural right now, and this is actually something that is relatively good for Moriga back on the other side of the map. With all those drones down at the natural, when speed does in fact kick in here in about 45 seconds, 7 drones down at the natural are going to be relatively vulnerable to those speedlings unless Sam is able to get some spine crawlers and some queens as well as some Zerglings into position over here. But we'll see how many Zerglings our green Zerg does in fact opt to make. A lot of times with that first inject coming down right there, a lot of those larvae will be used for Zerglings, and he's actually going to be droning with them. So this is actually, he's going to really miss his timing here a lot. With those speedlings out on the map, he's not going to have enough to overwhelm his opponent's numbers, and he's not going to be able to make up that economic advantage. So the early game most certainly going to be going here to our pink Zerg Sam.
Isn't it a little tiny engagement?
Yeah, as the Zerglings do meet up here, there's actually a little bit favorable engagement here for the slowling player. The speedling, he's going to be able to get out of there, but he's not really able to tango with the other Zerglings there, as a couple more do make their way onto the map right now. Finally, the speed is equalized, and the Zergling count is going to be still in Sam's favor, but not by a whole lot. But with some good micro there, Kupak, aka Sam, is actually going to be able to get into the natural and starts to take out a few of these drones here. The drone's actually going to be doing a little bit of micro of their own, trying to fight as much as possible. But 2 drones already going down here for our green Zerg. And it looks like Moriga is actually just going to be falling further and further behind right now. Let's take a look at the drone count. All the way up at 29 for Sam back at home. this is actually just how the Zerg versus Zerg matchup plays out. One player is the aggressor, the other one is trying to defend the aggression, and then typically when you are the aggressor, you're doing your best to drone up while you're at home. Use the units that you have on the map. Use the fact that your opponent's having to feel defensive and they're going to be trying to defend your aggression to drone up as much as you can back at home. So we'll see how that does come into the play right here. As we did see our green Zerg push out onto the map, he did make six drones back home. And as his Baneling nest finishes up, a few Banelings going to be morphed back at home, in addition to a couple of Spine Crawlers so that he can in fact defend. But a Roach Warren going down, a relatively early Roach Warren, seeing as that we're still in the Zergling Baneling stage of the game. So it looks like our Pink Zerg looking to transition out of this phase, and maybe looking to make a little bit of a Roach bust, something that could catch his opponent pretty heavily off guard. Moriga's
third also going down over here for Sam.
Yeah, Sam actually taking a very early third, whereas opponent is instead opting to go up to double gas with that lair. Now, seeing as there's no Roach Warren down right away, this is probably going to be something like Infestor or Spire Tech. But without those third and fourth gases down, he's really not going to have the energy to do it. And actually, the Zergling's getting a big surround here on the Queen. One of the Queens is in fact going to fall as the Zerglings do meet up out there just out of range of the Spine Crawlers. And so once again, another nice pick off here from our Pink Zerg. 3 gas in total going to be coming up here in addition to 1 Evo Chamber from our Zerg. This is a very standard play out of Sam right now. Third base up with that Queen going to be coming up as well. Zergling's just going to be kind of massing up over here on the left side of the map for Moriga as he tries to drone up as much as possible. The Spire finally coming down, but without a third and fourth gas, he's just not going to be able to make very many Mutalisks, excuse me. Gas number.
Missile being researched as well over here for Sam.
Yeah, Sam's definitely going to be looking for a 3-base Roach timing, possibly even going for Hydras. Yeah, there's the Hydra Den going to be going down as well. Roach Hydra really is the metagame right now on Daybreak, with the multiple map engagement, or the routes to make their way across the map, the multiple attack paths. Hydras have really become really strong back into the metagame. So both these players may be looking for that, but with that Spire down, the Hydro Den is actually going to be a pretty good blind counter to that. And right now, I'd like to point out that the drone count is heavily in favor of our Pink Zerg for this point. Just tons and tons of drones right now, 67 drones. But as these Zerglings make their way into the drone line over here, they're going to be able to pick off that Queen, and a few drones going to be going down here as well, as Zerglings continue to do a little bit of damage there. Finally, the drones do clean up those Zerglings, but even more drones being added consistently. And look at that, every Mutalisk that was able to be made is made here, but it's only 4. He simply did not have those gases up early enough, finally taking third and fourth gases about a minute and a half ago, and he's got a ton of minerals, some of that going to be going down here into his hatchery at his third. Going to try to equalize the economic situation, but with those Mutalisks, he's going to be able to very effectively clean up his opponent's overlords. And if he doesn't overmake mutas, this can actually be a very effective transition into a ground-based army. So using those Mutalisks to effectively clean up overlords, deny map vision for his opponent, and maybe even do a little bit of harassment. That's the way that Mutalisks are really being used in the current matchup. You don't see Muta versus Muta wars very often. So we'll see what these Mutalisks do in fact do. Hydralisk production has started in earnest over here for our Pink Zerg, as about 11 Hydras making their way out onto the field, in addition to gases number 5 and 6. I don't see an infestation pit going down yet. Do you, Shay?
No, I'm not seeing infestation anywhere. Macro hatch going down in Sam's main.
Yep. Macro hatch is already down. Zergling's still out on the map trying to make their way around, sharking around, looking for some kind of an opening right now. And Mutalisk production is actually continuing right now for Moriga. He really wants to commit to that, and I don't think that he's seen the Hydralisks yet. And he probably will here in about the next 10 seconds as the Hydras are starting to cover the 4th base. And being that this is actually TSL 4 Daybreak, not the ladder version, the middle map, the positional bases over here do actually only have 6 mineral patches and 1 gas rather than the traditional 8.
And while there's Zergling sacrifice down there, the natural did get the queen. At the same time, 5, actually more than that now, Mutalisks were moved into the main as well, so killing 2 queens in this engagement.
Yeah, nice job taking out some queens there. Even going to be taking out a couple of drones there. And with those Hydros now spotted, I'm anxious to see how Moriga is going to react to that, what composition he is in fact going to choose. Roaches have started making their way out onto the map, but I don't think that they have speed yet. Those looked awful slow, yeah. No roach speed right here just yet, so it's going to be real unfortunate when he tries to engage with his opponent because he's not going to be able to run away from his opponent's roaches here. And the army count pretty heavily in favor of Sam right now. Sam just looking in a beautiful position with his speed roaches running down his opponent's slow roaches, and the army count's just going to be absolutely huge right now. Army supply 118 to 82 with the superior fighting force of those Hydros, and even 1-0 already finished for our Pink Zerg. This is going to be a push that's going to be extremely hard to stop. Even a couple of Overlords falling here, supply blocking Moriga back at home, and Roach is just going to go and close that gap as Hydros do damage from the back. The Spine Crawler is adding a little bit of DPS, but there's simply not enough here, and GG is called by Moriga. Sam taking game 1 in absolutely dominant fashion.
Yeah, the mutas that he invested early in just never did come around to doing much of anything, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's real unfortunate. Mutas have fallen out of the metagame right now just because Hydras are so important on maps like Daybreak and maps like Antigua, maps with a lot of counterattacking possibilities. And so nice strong blind counter with those Hydras there. They're just some brilliant economic management there by Sam as well. And he's able to take that game 1 very easily. Game 2 going to be coming up very soon in this round of 32 best of 3. Thank you for joining me. I've been Beef Casting host Shay. Any closing words?
I don't, that's not just, it was again another match where you see. I still think that Sam out-ecoed him a little bit there, and then again, especially with being able to control, keep those units from ever doing anything at any point in the game. He's able to always be working on his army and always on his continual attack. So no distractions, no diversions. He rolled from his plan from the beginning to the end, and paid off.
Very well put. We'll see you in the next game.